Hey guys, Zach here. I wanted to take a few minutes today and show off my new G&G Hawk triple aught design Dauntless. Now this little baby I picked up about 3 weeks ago at the USN Gathering number 9 in Las Vegas, and I've been carrying it almost every day since. Absolutely in love with this little knife. Triple aught design had a small run of these in G10, I believe, that they dropped a few months back, and then they had this latest run that they dropped just recently on the website. This particular one, as you can see, is in carbon fiber. I'll go over the overall specs of this guy before I talk about some of the finer details, what you're going to have here. So, you've got a flipper running on bearings. You've got just under 3.5 inches of LMAX, which keeps it in line with most of the Dauntless knives are around 3.5 inches in blade length. 2 carbon fiber scales. You've got kind of a cool two-piece titanium clip, and I'll talk a little bit about more of that here in a minute. The overall weight of the knife is just about 4.5 ounces. Titanium back spacer and titanium liners. So, very similar to the overall size and weight of most of the Dauntless series. This one again though is a flipper. And it operates unlike most knives that we're used to seeing nowadays. Unlike having a liner lock or a frame lock design, it actually has what you, by first look, you would think is similar to Benchmade's Axis Lock. Benchmade's Axis Lock, if you're familiar, has a little sliding bolt, very similar to this, but the bolt on a Benchmade actually goes all the way through, and it's spring driven. It's a spring-driven design that locks up against the tang of the blade. The G&G Hawk, or the Hawk Lock, as they're calling it, operates a little bit differently. As you can see, the lock doesn't go all the way through like it would on an Axis Lock. Instead, it is spring-driven, and I'll give you a little diagram of kind of how this thing works. I'll draw it out for you. I've had a lot of questions about how this actually works. So, if we have the handle of the knife this way, kind of a terrible drawing of the handle of the knife. What you've got is a track on the inside of the liner that looks sort of like a C, and it comes around something like this. And instead of the track being cut in the blade like it is on many knife designs, the track is actually cut into the, we call it the show side liner, okay? The blade has a small pin that is pressed into it that travels along this track. So the pin is pushed into the blade, and as you flip the knife, the pin travels around this track, both open and close. Now here's where it gets kind of interesting, where the sliding lock comes into play. We have our little sliding lock here, our little bolt for that. There is a little bar attached to that sliding bolt, and as you pull it back, it allows that pin to either travel around to closed or come back around and lock it open. So hopefully that, my really crude design here, gives you some idea of how this works. So this little pin is spring loaded, and it has some spring tension on it, and it will slide back and forth, moving this little sliding bar to allow that pin to move around the track. So again, this track, unlike most knife designs, is not actually cut into the blade. The blade just has that little pin pushed into it, and that's about it. What that makes this blade allowed to do is it travels kind of like an Axis Lock, but it travels very smoothly. It just flies open. If you're a fidgety type like I am, it makes it very easy for you to be able to open and close this knife and really annoy your spouse or everyone around you, because you can just release the lock here and flick the blade closed, and it goes right past the detent. And so you could sit here all day and just, without having to do much with your thumb, other than slide this little bolt back and forth. So again, as you slide this little bolt back, when the bolt blade is locked, it allows the blade to close, and the spring tension carries it back around on its own. Very, very cool design. I know there's going to be guys that ask about, oh, is it as strong as an Axis lock? I'm going to say probably not as strong as an Axis lock. Is it strong? Yeah, it's still plenty strong for anything you're going to use a pocket knife for. Again, there still is a solid pin that's pushed into the blade and it's captured. There's nowhere where it can go. It's captured between the liner and the actual blade here. You can actually sort of see it if I... Yeah, you can sort of see that pin there that's actually pressed into the blade that's allowed to travel around that track. You have these, which you might consider are thumb studs. They're actually not. They're really the stop pins. So those stop pins stop against the metal, these little titanium shoulders here that they've got cut in. And they also have a spot to stop here at the bottom in the frame so that the stop pins aren't hitting straight against the carbon fiber. Give you kind of a macro look at the rest of it. Really cool milled backspacer you got here. Really cool design. The backspacer actually sits just inside of the carbon fiber scales here. And the rest of the liner you could see is just recessed just below those carbon fiber scales. So it's kind of hidden there a little bit, gives it a nice, really clean look, and allows that spacer to sit right down in there nice and flush. Come around this side. Onto the pocket clip. Now the pocket clip is a two-piece titanium clip, so those of you who really, really hate the standard fold-over deep carry style clip that's on all of the Dauntless knives that Triple Aught Design releases, I'm guessing you're going to like this clip a lot better. When this clip is in pocket, all you need to do is press the little tab here and you can see you can release the tension to slide this knife in and outside of your pants. Let me show you what that looks like here. So if I were to put it on my pad here, I could open it up. My pad's a little bit thick, and that clip really holds very nicely. There's a nice amount of tension on this clip. I don't think you'll have any issue. I haven't had any issue carrying this inside my TAD AC shorts with it coming in and out at all. The only issue I might see you have is that if you're coming down with something, you can get this actual tab snagged from time to time. But snagging this tab is just going to push the knife further into your pocket instead of pulling it out and throwing it out on the street or wherever else. So probably not going to be a big issue with accidentally dropping this guy out and losing it. Very cool design. They use a very similar design to this on the mud knife and a few of their other folder offerings as well. Really nice, simple pivot. Nothing too crazy there. Just a regular Torx head on both sides. I haven't actually had this guy apart yet. I might in the future do a teardown video to give you a little bit better idea of just how the mechanics of this works. But I think it's fairly simple. If my drawing was decent enough to get an understanding of how this actually works. Really nice detent. I mean, this knife just flips right open, like hardly any tension at all on the flipper there, and it comes flying right open. Closes amazing, opens amazing. Sharp, came crazy sharp out of the box. Probably can still shave hair, I think. Yep, can still shave hair off my arm. And I've been actually using this sucker for close to 3 weeks. I've been carrying it almost every day, just absolutely in love with this knife. Again, mine came in carbon fiber. They come in black G10. They also come in green G10. I believe that there is one or two still available in G10 up on Triple Aught's site if you want to go take a look there. But overall, I think I covered mostly what I wanted to talk about with this knife. I can't say enough good things about it. And I'm a huge fan of the Dauntless series as it is, so this fits right in with my current collection. If you were on the fence, hopefully this kind of gave you that nudge to go get yourself one, because this is an amazing, amazing piece. Really, really, really nice to have something other than a liner lock or a frame lock these days for what's been coming out. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I'm going to probably, I always say this every time, be getting a few more videos up here and there. But I appreciate those of you that have stuck around all this time. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you later.